Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the shop on this Sunday afternoon. Okay, guys. First of all, I want to thank each and every one of you for them birthday wishes. That was very kind, very thoughtful. And I thank you from the bottom of my big old soft heart. Okay. I'm really happy with the way the cowl flaps all turned out. And you guys know that reel has almost went viral. 42,000 views in what, a week? Then kind of been down in the back a little bit. I'm better now, just every now and then. And that's kind of why I've been a little distant this past week, but it's time to get back to work, baby. But I'm getting hundreds of people asking exactly how I made these cowl flaps work. And today, I'm going to go in detail and show everybody. That's what we're about here. It's not showing you what I did. I'll go over that in a minute. It's teaching you guys how to do it as well. So I just got my little Servo deal on there. But they work really well. I'm really happy with it. And I'm going to show you guys how I did it. First of all, this one ain't working because I only could come up with enough set screws to here. I got to run to Ace Hardware and get some set screws. The screws that these things came with, these strip horn things, I'll show you that in a minute. The screws ain't long enough to hit the cable. So I had to use the set screws that come with the regular wheel color. I was able to come up with that many just from digging in my junk, but I ain't got no more. So I'm going to have to go to Ace Hardware sells them. Local. Okay, first of all, what I did was I marked a line straight down on each cowl flap. This is a Compar P47, and of course they was drawn in there. They was actually made a little bit big to where, you know, they stuck out a little from the factory, the cowl. So this one here, I actually had to cut the bent part off and add some G10 to it, is what I added on. Fiberglass strips, whatever you guys can get. And because it'll come out a little short when you cut that deal off. Okay? But then I marked straight down on every one so I can line it back up perfectly where it was. Then I marked 1, 2, 3 so I can get them in the right order, exactly how they was. That way your cuts will line back up. Okay? Then I just took my deal, oscillating cutter, and cut it off. Okay? Then this is just regular poster board. I got it like Dollar General. Then you fold that little bit in and lay it right here, because you got this L piece. So you fold that in and you line it up right there. Draw around it. Then kind of set this on here, unfold it, and kind of get your shape for this piece of plywood ring. It's just 1/4 inch plywood, nothing special about it. And then cut it out. Kind of had to do a little sand and get it fit good, you know. And once I got it fit good, for these standoffs here, I kind of went a couple different ways, and until I came up with these, and these work the best. Okay. Now to make them, I just made me a little jig, because each one of them, that hole has to be the exact same height. If you get that wandering up and down, it's just drag, and your servo ain't going to be powerful enough. You know, if you get them perfect, then it don't take a, you know, a $300 servo to make it work. You know, and so to do that, I used mahogany sticks. You can use poplar, mahogany. I don't really recommend a balsa wood piece, but you can try what you want. Okay, and I made me a little jig. The hole right there, right in the center of this, and then I just put that on there, and then from the back side drilled my hole. Okay, and then I use this as a guide for my length. You just cut them off, and that made each one of these. You guys see okay? Okay, thanks. That made each one of these perfect. That holds the exact height, and they'll all line up. And then I took two, see it's kind of L-shaped. I took two smaller pieces and glued them on there, so they're 3 thick. They're 3/4 of an inch thick from the side of the cowl to out here. And I had to get them out that far because of the hinges I used. We'll go over that in a minute. Okay, but that's pretty much how I got my ring and my cable holder. That's what I'm going to call it, my cable holder. That's how I got my cable. Okay, the cable I used, I like that golden, this golden cable, Sullivan golden cable. It's a little stiffer than the regular cable, but it's hard to get these things anymore. I think this one was the last one on the planet. It was the last one on eBay anyway, and it was $30. Yeah, $30. You can get that other cable cheaper, but it's so soft, you know, and I think it'd be all right everywhere except for right here. And you can take, you know, use some liquid flux and solder it with some high tin solder, and that will stiffen it up quite a bit. So that would probably work. Just took some of that regular soft cable. That's abundant. You can get that anywhere. But I like this golden rod. You know, even in the way it kind of pulls on both sides, it'd probably be all right, but it might be a little soft in these places. And see, these are pretty sturdy. Well, that's loose, so that one's going to be. But get in here to my set screw ones, and you know they're going to have a lot of slop. So that's why I chose to go with the golden rod. Okay. Now for the servo. And the servo arm's the big thing. I just took a servo arm like this one right here, you know, good, nice wide one. I cut it off right there, then I drilled a hole on each side of it. Put 2 holes, one for each one of my clips. Because this is a pull design. There's another design out there that's really simple. It's a lot more simple than this, but you got to kind of use 2 servos where they do that, and you put the cable out here and it makes them swell up. But the bad thing with that is these will come out more than these, and there's just no way to make them really come out exactly all the same and close exactly all the same. It's just a kind of crapshoot thing, but they do work. You can make them work. They're just not as good as this design, if you ask me. Of the two ways to make it work, this is, I feel, was the best way. But anyway, okay. So that covers the servo, the cable, my frame, and my cable guides. Okay. Now, the hinges I used are these offset hinges. Just the smaller offset gear door hinge. I've seen them done with the big flat hinge, but the problem with that is these are rounded. You know, this cowl's rounded, it's not flat. And so when they open up, it's going to distort the fiberglass. And I just couldn't. I mean, I've seen them done with the flat ones, and you know they do work, but I just chose. I didn't want the glass to distort. And if you don't use two hinges, you know it's going to sit there, and they're going to want to twist. And when you use two, it's just going to make a. It's going to want to flatten this out when it's opened, and I just didn't see that being a good design. So I chose to use these. You know, it's just, I got these off of eBay. They're small. They don't have the horns on them, you know, like them bigger ones do. And that's why I chose to go with these. Okay. Plus, it's the smallest ones I could find. Because that's why I had to bring my cable guides out so much as to clear. Because, you know, my aileron strip hinge would hit them if I didn't. Okay. But it's also real important, see, to put the center of this with the center of your hinge. I mean, of your flap, right there on the seam. See where I did that? It's just right on the center, right where I cut it. Needs to be the center of these two. Just right there like that. Okay. And when I glued these hinges on, I took a stick like this, and I taped it to the cowl, and I put another, I taped it to the flap first, and then got it to just a hairline crack, and then taped that, and then glued these on with some JB Weld, because JB Weld sticks really good to plastic. You got to kind of sand these first. I took my sanding block and my sanding stick with some pretty rough paper on it, and sanded them like so, you know. Got it roughed up pretty good, and glued them in there, being real careful, you know, to stop my JB Weld before it got in that crack. And kind of did that. I could only do a few at a time, and then let it set for an hour till that thickened up, you know, and then put some more on there. I had a bunch of these made, and so the hinges wouldn't move, because I put the top of this one is right on there, right on the edge. And because it's important to get all these, your hinged lines lined up. But I'll put this part on the bottom and this part on the flap, okay? And this is lined up, the top of this is lined up with that seam right there. Okay. Then I went in with these ball joints, or you know, the ball links, DeBro's ball links, and I had to go to DeBro's site to get enough of them. The same way with the strip hinges. There's a ball link, but this is a bolt-on ball link. I used the other type with the threads and the nuts, and glued them on a piece of plywood and threaded them on there, and then sanded off anything that was sticking out the back side, and glued them in the center. Which, if I had to do it again, I would take them off center towards the other side of this, because these will actually move too far, and when you go a little bit too much, they suck back in. So you would want this ball more lined up with that top one. So I'd have moved that over another 1/4 inch, just move that back side to the front side type deal. That's probably 3/8, so move it about 3/8 farther. 3/8 of an inch for you metric guys. Farther that way, all the way around. So it's the top here, but the bottom here. You know what I mean? Okay, so now I got my ball links glued in there. And then you take your aileron strip hinge. It's you got a wheel collar that goes in the middle, you know, and that's where them screws came from. These come with just Phillips head screws, and they're not long enough to hit my cable. Anyway, they might that silver cable. It might be a little bit bigger, but I gotta go to Ace Hardware and get some more set screws to fit in there. Just ain't made it yet. Okay, then the rest I had to cut probably 3/16 of the ball link off the plastic, you know, part, because it was a little bit too long. And then just hook up the part that actually came with the ball link, I believe. The other ball links came with a threaded rod that you solder onto the cable, like one of them deals there, and that's what I used for the threaded part. I mean, you can get some 440 all thread, just anything, and then your clevises, and closed like that, and then when this cable moves that way, opens them. Just simple, and it's all precise. They all open at the same time and the same amount. And then, of course, I took some G10. I just Googled G10, and I've had some for a while, and I put them in between the deals, just on one side of each one, you know, to fill the gap. And that's all there is to it, guys. Working 347 cow flaps. You can do it on a Corsair, make them go all the way around. Bam. You saw it right here on Bob TV, baby. Well, I wish you guys a good afternoon. I'm going to get back on the 47 and hit it pretty hard this week. My back's a lot better, and I'm ready to roll, baby. So we'll see you guys back in the shop.